The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of your favorite brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined triumphantly returning to the podcast
back,
by
bitches.
You know it, co-host and brewologist
Steph Hefner.
So good to have you back, Steph.
Yay.
It was really weird without you.
Yay.
Thanks.
So in podcast time, it's been
Like 14
it's
hours.
been 2 episodes. No, I mean in podcast
time. I'm sorry, yeah.
It's been 2 weeks since we were at Evil Genius. In real time, it was last night.
Yeah.
So I'm a little hungover.
Yeah, but
Great way to start an event.
I slept 10 hours last night.
It's been 2 whole episodes without Steph.
I
Yeah.
took a Unisom.
For real.
Oh, of course, we know the Demented and Fermented.
Oh yeah, I'm here too. My name's Wayne.
That's the second time in a row that we also did that.
Yes.
Like plowed right through that.
Yeah.
Well, this is exciting. We are at a really cool event, and I'm super happy to be here. We are at the Reading Liederkranz for the Pennsylvania Dutch Brewers Festival, 2018 edition, of course.
First edition, too.
Numero
Yeah.
uno.
The OG.
The OG. This is it. It's starting here.
Yeah.
Well, we have joining us one of the organizers of the event. We have Holly. Holly, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic.
She's smiling.
I saw you chug at least one beer before you came over to the microphone.
There's about 4.
All right, good.
4? All right, cool.
She's not messing around.
Starting off strong.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like public speaking, so
Ah,
This is only public-ish.
yeah,
Right.
public-ish.
Yeah.
That's
it's
true.
the internet.
true.
It doesn't really
Just
count.
think, we're the only ones here that can hear this right now.
This is true.
That's
This is
true.
true.
So this is the original one. This is the first one. What happened to get this together? How did it come about?
yeah. So we just started talking as a club, and it'd be really fun to just have a festival and get to meet other brewers, and have a brew fest where you get to taste more than just the commercial beers you can go get at a bar somewhere.
Right.
So there's so much good homebrew and just different stuff. Like my husband and I brought a 0% beer, but it sounds crazy, but you can give it to your kids and have it at work.
Wait, I think I can probably drink that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like a full pour of that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has hops and everything. It's great.
Wow.
Ooh,
We're
that's
definitely going to have to try that.
Beer for kids and people on blood thinners.
Yes, exactly.
But besides 0 alcohol beer, there's like tons of good beer here, and we brought 8 beers, and
Wow.
we've been brewing for a while.
Wow.
So it's
Yeah.
You've been
good.
prepared.
We should
Yeah.
also mention you're with Brewclear.
Yes. Yeah, I was
Yes,
going to homebrew there.
we're with Brewclear, and we reached out to Lancaster Homebrew Club, who's a much bigger club than us, and they do a lot of events, so they've been a huge help in organizing, and we reached out to Burke's, which is how we met Steph, and it's just been really fun to, kind of get to know each other and everything.
I've always wondered this, since you're in different homebrew clubs. Are you at war with each other, or is it like a friendly kind of, hey, you suck, but I really like you kind of deal? Or how does that work? I mean, are you guys about to throw fisticuffs?
Not at all. Well, I know Brewclear does a lot more competitions than Burke's Homebrew does. We're not a very competitive club. Like, we do throwdowns within our own club, and a few members will enter beers, but we're a very, very laid-back homebrew club. I think you guys do enter competitions
Yeah.
a little more than we do.
We have several brewers that just are in every competition. They brew constantly. My husband and I do not. We brew tons of beer and have a huge system and basically a microbrewery in our basement. But literally, we have a walk-in freezer, a walk-in cooler, and conicals and everything.
Wow.
But, yeah, it's pretty intense. We grow up our own yeast and everything. So so it's really good, and we do. So there's a lot of competitions in our club. I'm not positive about how competitive Lancaster is, but they do a ton of events and brew fests and really neat things. And I think they have a big Christmas ball coming up and everything. So
Yeah, I think the 3 clubs together, I think we each bring our own unique
Yeah.
view and unique talents to this. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited. And there are a number of commercial breweries here.
Yeah.
Sly Fox is here, Neshaminy, 2SP, Pottstown United, and Highway Manor both have beers here. Who else is here?
Other Farm.
Other
Creekon
Farm, ciders. Stouts is going to be here.
Do you have Victory?
Victory, that's right.
Oh, cool.
Trogs.
Oh, Troy's here.
All
Oh,
the,
good.
All,
All
the
of them.
awesome PA
All the ones you would
breweries.
expect, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
excited to have some of Pottstown United's. I haven't had any of his stuff since
And
we
there's
last
a
had
sign
one.
on the thing that says Armstrong Ales. So
Is there really?
Oh, that's great.
I love it.
Oh,
Throwback.
that's so cool.
Our listeners will remember Steve Armstrong, who is now with Pottstown United Brewing, and we will be interviewing him in a few months.
We will, yes.
So
I
we're
can't
excited
wait.
to have him back
He
on the
used
show.
to be in Brewclear.
Yep.
Yeah,
He
that's
lives
true.
in
Yeah.
Brewclear.
Yeah.
I mean,
We've had a lot of Brewclear members on our show.
We have, yeah.
Joe Moran, of course, has been on the show.
I wish I would have had that. He just tapped a... man. It's for the pin and a firkin, and I wish I would have had it because it just, like, erupted. Man!
And one
Can
of
I
our,
ask him to do it again?
No, that's not how that works.
one of
know.
our members, Dell, is here. He does.
Oh, Ordell.
Yeah, he's here, and he's going to be going to school for brewing at Siebel's, and hopefully opening a brewery around here too.
Wardell is a superstar in the
Yes.
local homebrew scene and beer
awesome.
scene. So, yeah. So hopefully we'll have some of these people come up and chat with us during the event. And the Daisy Jug Band is here, of course.
Daisy Jug Band.
So we'll have some great live German music that you'll hear in the background.
Awesome.
The Reading Liederkranz crew is here serving up some German food.
I gotta get me
which
some of that food.
Their German, especially their German potato salad is out of this world. So I'm
point.
hoping they're
Yeah.
scooping some of that
And
today.
they're going to have homemade goulash
Oh.
and
Nice.
apple strudel.
I've heard. Ooh,
Yeah.
no way. Oh, God.
All sounds. Last time I was here, I was with you at Burke's Homebrew table, like way back, like when we first started the podcast, like 5 years ago.
Oh, that was wasn't that Pints for Pups?
I think it was
Several years
yeah,
ago,
Yeah,
Pints
yeah,
for
yeah.
Pups was here.
Mhm.
I remember
And
we plugged that a lot. I
Yeah.
didn't get to go, but yeah.
And I have not been back here since.
Well,
It's
and-
such a cool spot.
And
It
this is dog friendly. I don't know if you guys.
There was a
Yeah.
beautiful golden retriever walking around somewhere that
Yeah.
I need to pet.
Yeah.
We love dogs.
Yes,
we
If
do.
only we could interview a dog on the podcast.
I don't know how that would work.
we could try.
We'll figure that out.
Try.
Franz can count to 10.
There you go.
Nice.
My poodle.
That's amazing.
Is your poodle here?
No.
Ah.
no.
Okay, future episode.
Yes.
Holly's poodle will be on.
Oh, that's amazing. Well,
It looks like the doors are just about to open
Yes.
officially. A few more minutes.
Yeah. Taste homebrew. You can compare it to the commercial samples. It'll be really fun. And be sure to stop by Matted Rabbit Brewery for my husband and our beer.
cool.
Love it.
It's awesome. And if you
Will do.
if you drink all 8, you get a punch card, and then you get to pick a snack.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
exciting.
Really?
Hey, challenge accepted.
Yeah, right.
What? It's like a little beer scavenger hunt.
That's so cool.
But it's all in one place. So you don't
Right,
have to go
yeah, it's
far.
not much of a
That's true,
scavenger
yeah.
hunt.
Well, Holly, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for including our podcast and our homebrew club in this
Yeah.
event. And I think it's going to be a super awesome day.
All right. Hopefully next year we'll see you again.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Bye.
All right,
you.
cheers. Thank you.
So we missed a couple housekeeping things because we needed to get Holly back to her station. Of course, you out there in the podcast diverse listening to this right now, you can find us online. I'm sure you know by now, but if you don't, Twitter and Instagram, Beer Busters. Facebook, Beer Busters Podcast. It's also the website, beerbusterspodcast.com. You can call us, leave a voicemail. You can text us, 805-991-BEER, which is 805-991-2337. And patreon.com/beerbusters.
Do it.
Always a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm assuming we'll have a last call for this episode.
There better be.
We better have one.
There's
I mean,
always a last
the
call.
people are giving us their money for that.
Yeah, we have to
owe it
keep our
them.
We owe it to
patrons
them.
Yes,
happy.
that is our promise
There will
to
be a
you,
last call.
our wonderful patrons. And if you're not one yet, you should become one.
Yes, and if you want to support the podcast but can't afford becoming a patron, we totally get it. A very easy thing you can do is rate and review us on your podcast platform of choice.
Yes.
Give us your honest feedback about the show. Tell us how awesome we are and how much you love us.
Yes, please do that. We need validation. The internet thrives on validation.
Yes.
Now, continuing our series, and this is not normal for a fest episode for us, but we have an interview that Wayne and I did over the phone with somebody who founded 2 companies that deal with more so not brewing necessarily, but brewing equipment.
Like specifically carbonation.
Yeah, carbonation
and
and-
nitrogenization.
Yes, it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I didn't know a damn thing going into this about any of it, and I feel like I know slightly more, but still nowhere near
It was-
what he has.
The really interesting.
Yeah,
interview,
so the man in question was Dr. Murthy Tata, who founded a company called QuantiPerm and another one called Nitro Brew. And I really hope you enjoy this interview because it was a lot of fun for us to do. So it's not very often on the podcast that we get to talk about the technology behind the beer. We've talked to plenty of brewers. We've talked to plenty of brewery owners, beer drinkers. And there's an aspect no one ever thinks about is, what happens between the brewing and when it gets to your mouth. And that is where certain companies like Quantiperm and Nitro Brew come into play, both of which were founded by somebody who is kind enough to take some time and chat with us, Dr. Murthy Tata. We have on the phone right now. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, guys. And how are you all?
Oh, doing great out here. Thank you so much for joining us, of course, too.
My pleasure.
So I guess we should probably start...
Start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So the Quantiperm was founded in 2001. Now I read from your website that it said you recognize that we could change the status quo with regard to package shelf life testing methods and tools. Now, Dan and I go to a lot of breweries and drink a lot of beers, but I'm not going to pretend to understand all of that. So could you just give us a little brief description of what the company started with before you guys kind of branched off into doing this brewing equipment?
So Quantiperm has some patents in measuring gas permeation through various materials. And, of course, the interest for food and beverage is, gas barrier or diffusion performance of plastic bottles or crown liners in beer bottles, maybe can seaming quality, things like that, that can cause the beverage to either lose carbon dioxide or pick up oxygen from ambient air. And so we have a very sensitive and very high-speed method of determining how much, either oxygen ingress into the package or carbon dioxide loss from the package. So the state-of-the-art, I guess, is typically, for instance, for a plastic soda bottle, it kind of goes flat if you leave it in the car for too long, especially out here in Arizona when it's warm. So companies want to tell, when they call or specify a package that will hold that carbon dioxide or the carbonation volumes no more than 10% loss over, a certain amount of time. Let's say for Coca-Cola or Pepsi, soda, for instance, is about typically 8 to 10 weeks. They don't want to lose more than 10%. And traditional methods require them to literally run a test that long, 8 or 10 weeks before they can determine whether a package is really good or not. Our methods will help them determine that definitely within a day and often within a few hours.
That's
kind of how
impressive.
we got started.
Yeah, that's a good system, and I never would have thought of it that way when I was reading through the website. Growing up, I had my fair share of soda when I was a kid, but I always hated, if you had a 2-liter bottle, you open it up and then go back to it the next day, even from the fridge, and it's almost completely flat.
Right, yeah. Now, what you're talking about is a much more aggressive loss, which, of course, happens no matter how good a package it is, because once you open, you lose a big amount of carbon dioxide.
Right.
But what we are concerned is, the gas actually dissolves in that plastic, be it a crown liner or, a liner in one of those roll-on type aluminum closures, or right through the bottle if it's a plastic bottle, and which is much slower. It's often, if you lose more than 10% of carbonation, people tend to pick up on that. So that's companies want to know when a package might hit that time point, and they want to extend that as long as possible. And of course, you can build a bulletproof bottle, if you will, that'll keep it forever, but it'll be really expensive.
Right. Yeah. Well, and especially when it comes to beer, I think, because nobody's opening a bottle of beer and then closing it back up.
Right.
So it's really important, to keep that the oxygen out and keep the carbonation in, on the shelf up until the consumer opens it.
I was curious about something like a growler. You go to a brewery, you get a growler filled. I doubt you're going to drink, the entire thing right away when you get home. Is there a way to really hang on to the carbonation from that to prolong that experience? Because typically a growler will be flat within 2-3 days after opening it at best.
Yeah, so that is, unfortunately, in that setting, not much anyone can do. anytime you open the package, you lose some, and it's that much more worse when you tip that growler over and pour out some of the contents. Now you got this big headspace that basically the CO2 from the beer is going to rush into the headspace, which of course is not available when you pour the next serving. So, yeah, that is a problem, but, there are some ways around it. For instance, you have these widgets where they screw in a miniature CO2 cartridge that will charge it back up,
right.
or, more serious home brewers, have the whole setup with a gas cylinder and the kegs and all that.
Right.
Interesting. If our conversation drifts away, I'll tell you. The Nitro Brew setup can actually be used to carbonate beer or beverages as you need it to, one serving at a time. But that's a different matter.
Right.
And anytime you open, you will lose some and gain some of the oxygen, which is also undesirable. But the thing going for you, for us is, that beer typically is kept cold the whole time. So the loss in CO2 isn't as bad as it could be if the beer was warm at room temperature. And the oxygen that you pick up, which is a huge amount of oxygen that gets picked up when you open it, surprisingly, doesn't do as much damage as long as you keep that beer cold. And, of course, the time frame for a growler, usually at my place, growlers don't really last a whole week. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting. You guys have gone from keeping carbonation in packaging to develop systems to add carbonation as part of the either brewing or serving process. There's two products in particular we want to talk to you about. The X-Flow CO2 Mini, which I guess is for like a brewing system. And then you mentioned the Nitro Brew infusion module, which is for a tap system that adds nitrogen right at the time of serving. So the X-Flow CO2, that's a smaller version of another product you guys had already had?
Yeah. We had this product for almost 10 years now called X-Flow CO2, supposed to be short for cross-flow carbonation system. We have these, powdered metal or sintered metal tubes through which beer flows, and then the flow is channeled in such a way that it's accelerated through this thing, and gas is infused from the outside. And these are, meant for fairly large breweries, but then, some of the, anywhere from 15 barrels up in production to, several hundred, maybe even a couple thousand barrels size systems. But we found a lot of interest in really small brewers that want, carbonation systems that are maybe 5 gallons a minute or even lower. So we, more interestingly, people wanted something that's inexpensive, at the same time, possibly that can be used directly to send it to a bottle filler or a canner right from their bright beer tank, where the beer is not necessarily even carbonated. And our carbonation system will touch it up on the fly as it goes to a filler. So we are very excited about it. It's very new. The few brewers that have it seems like they're still using it mainly in that, in a tank to tank transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So when they pump the beer from one tank to another and have it carbonated on the way. It requires a little bit of tune-up in terms of how they set up their filling operation, because this unit has a positive displacement pump that continuously pumps up at 5 gallons a minute. So if the filling side of it can't keep up, it might feel like drinking from a fire hose or something.
Right, yeah.
And then the regular one, even that is not very expensive, but two different types of units for either difference in scales or difference in different operating methods.
Right. So now that the CrossFlow Mini, you mentioned it works at 5 gallons per minute, and that's relatively small for a brewery size. Do you think this is something, or do you have customers that are avid homebrewers that have more complicated homebrewing setups than maybe just doing it on their stovetop? Is this something that would work in that sort of circumstance too?
Yeah, of course. But then 5 gallons it'll basically move 5 gallons every minute.
Right,
So,
and a lot of homebrewers, that's all they're making is 5 gallons at a time.
Most homebrewers are using just about that size. For them, our NitroBrew system might be a good option where they can just connect the keg to our NitroBrew system, and then it can also infuse carbon dioxide. It's designed to do nitrogen, but you can also do, you can connect CO2 to it. And then just when you pour it, you get a carbonated beer as opposed to, a nitro-style beer from their normal beer.
Right. Yeah,
or coffee or whatever.
The Nitro brew system I find, really interesting. Not just for beer. You mentioned coffee. I know I've been to a couple, beer events or bars or other places that also serve like cold brew coffee on tap, and it's usually like a nitrogenated cold brew. So it's a really neat system that's pretty versatile that you can use on liquids other than beer, and also, as you mentioned, doesn't have to be just for nitro. It can also be for regular CO2 carbonation.
But by far, it's the bulk of that product goes into putting nitrogen. We are just now beginning to do a few carbonation applications for really small packaging scenarios. Like there are some companies out in Canada, for instance, where they seem to want people can go to those businesses and just brew their own beer and then package it and all that, and they're only brewing 5 gallons. I mean, it's pretty like any other home brewer, except these companies provide all the facilities for brewing and fermenting, and now it seems like packaging. But you can put nitrogen into it, into beer, wine, coffee, teas, kombucha. It's a very exciting time in, I guess, the beverage industry in general. But my background really is in the brewing industry, and believe it or not, NitroBrew has been around for almost 4 years now, and we were focused mostly on beer right from the beginning until maybe the last 3 years, and coffee and tea is a much bigger part of our business on that product line. But it's amazing how many different beverage categories are coming up every day.
That's true. I don't think I ever would have thought of tea with nitrogen.
Tea, or specifically wine. You mentioned wine. Yeah. I don't think I've ever had nitrogenated wine. That could be interesting.
Yeah. I am not much of a wine drinker, but the wine doesn't have anything inherently, foam positive in it. Any of these systems will put the nitrogen into the, whatever beverage it is, but it helps significantly if there's anything at all that can, support foam. Beer, of course, is a classic, and so is coffee and tea. But wine and some ciders, for instance, don't do as well. But you can supplement them. If you supplement with hops, for instance, hops are very foam positive, and you can create some really interesting. I don't know if there's such a thing exists in the wines, but
wine with hops.
Cider guys, wine with hops. Yeah. People said that it tastes mouthy, but I don't know what exactly that means. But they're referring to this creamy mouthfeel that you get with any nitro-infused traditional drinks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've certainly had our share of the same beer, carbonated traditionally, and then also with nitrogen, and it is amazing how much of a difference just introducing a different gas can make to the experience of drinking it.
That's my favorite side by side to do. It's so great. You can do year after year vertical. I'd rather do CO2 to nitrogen. I think it's so great to see what it does overall. And that mouthiness, the mouthfeel just changes so much. It becomes so smooth and creamy, whereas it may have been more effervescent to begin with the CO2. I love the comparison.
Yeah. Totally.
Is that what prompted you then to start Nitro Brew?
Nitro Brew actually goes back many years. I was always involved with an interest in developing processes for putting nitrogen into beer. I mean, years ago, back in the 90s, I developed a process to put nitrogen into beer, for example, for Leinenkugel, and it was a super hit. They had their standard Linus Red, and you put nitrogen into it. It's a completely different beer, and it was called Creamy Draft, if I remember correctly. But that was done, at the brewery, and while it's a fantastic product, what we found was, nitro style beers, when you produce at the brewery and start sending it out the distribution system, they're very, very, they need a lot of tender, loving care during distribution and subsequent handling at the retail establishments, because any small change in temperature or counter pressure gas composition or the total pressure they put on the line, on the keg, anything you do, it's very easy to, screw up that beer. Because, nitrogen is like 1/50th the solubility of carbon dioxide. So it's very easy to lose it from the beer. So that kind of bugged me for many years. And I always wanted to do something to put nitrogen at the point of service, like when you really want it. Because you can put it in and send it out. 80% of the time, it's the consumer experience is not quite what the brewer intended at the brewery. How many times have I had flat beer?
Yeah.
When you order it, when something is on nitro, I tend to gravitate to that, and often, I've been a little disappointed with the poor quality. It just ends up being flat beer, or the bartender is struggling trying to control the head. It's very frustrating. So that's the genesis for Nitro Brew, really.
I would argue that flat beer is much worse than flat soda.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, with the Nitro Brew, you can take that flat beer and put either carbon dioxide and pour it as a normally carbonated beer, or put nitrogen and make it a nitro style beer.
Yeah. So I've got a question. I apologize if I'm not following a chain properly. So Nitro Brew is pretty much at the time of consumption. You're doing it real time before you have it. But you were saying earlier about some of the technologies from QuantiPerm for packaging. Now, have you come across anything where you've seen breweries try to package nitrogenated beverages and have difficulties with that?
Of course, that goes back a long way. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with these widgets, for instance, out of Europe primarily.
No.
Guinness has those, and
in the can.
Yeah, you know what? That had popped into my mind earlier when you had said something. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So it's been a little bit of a sense of deja vu, but they've been tried as long back as, 80s?
I think so, yeah.
So, those are there. So people have been trying to get this type of a product out there for so many decades already. Everything is kind of suboptimal compared to putting it in just when you drink it.
Right.
So on a Nitro Brew system, for instance, the kettle system, you just open the beverage, pour it in, charge it up, and dispense. With the infusion module type, with the tap system, there's a small box that fits in a refrigerated space, and you connect a tubing to bring up the beverage to it. It draws the beverage from the keg, puts in nitrogen, and dispenses it. So nitrogen gets put into, only those ounces that move through the tubing when you pull on the tap and fill the glass. And the rest of the beverage is really untouched. So it's a very on-demand system.
Very nice. And that's something you could hook up to your kegerator at home if you wanted to and have nitro beer on demand.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, that being said, how big is the unit itself for a nitro brew?
So the infusion module, if we are talking about those kegerator-associated systems, they are about 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches by about 9 inches. So fairly small.
I don't think I'd pictured it being that small. I just assumed it was something a lot larger.
We are actually working on something that can shrink it down significantly more too.
Ooh.
But I mean, this size itself, you can put, more than 2 or 3 of these units in a small home kegerator style setup, and serve at least 2 nitro drinks and 2 straight, if you like.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the kettle system, there is nothing really. It's just a kettle and a charger that's piped up with the gas. It can even be, air, because air is 80% nitrogen, and oxygen gets into your beverage, of course. But in this setup, with the kettle system, you're drinking right away. So it's no more oxygenation than getting exposed to oxygen in a glass.
Right.
So, yeah, no consumables pretty much with that kind of a setup, and really inexpensive. So a lot of people buy it for home use, and, baristas, especially in the coffee industry. And they decide to do it for their cafes. And, we provide everything, I guess, both the inline tap systems as well as the infusion modules, as well as a one serving at a time kind of kettle system on the nitro brew side.
Yeah.
Quantifarm side is mostly on the production side in the breweries.
All right. And speaking, circling back to the Quantiperm system, I was curious. Dan and I we're here in Philadelphia. I know you're all the way out there in Arizona. But do you know off the top of your head any breweries on this side of the country that are using your system?
The commercial side, we have many people that have these. Philly, I got to look it up.
I didn't mean to put you on the
How
spot.
about Baltimore
Okay.
and Dupla Brewing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we know them.
Mm-hmm.
They have them. Yeah, we sell these all over the world.
Now, if anybody out there is looking to get a hold of one of these systems for themselves, should they just go to the websites? We've got quantiperm.com and nitrobrew.com. Is that the best place to do it?
Yeah, that would be great. Or give us a call, and we can supply these references.
Well, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to us, Dr. Tata.
Hey, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure.
No, pleasure's all ours. It's great to know that there's a lot of innovation going into brewing and beverages at all scales, pretty much. And it's great to see that you have that coming out of these two companies you have.
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating. We talk a lot about the ingredients in beer. We talk a lot about hops. We talk a lot about malts, a little bit about water chemistry. But we don't often have long conversations about the carbonation or the infusion process when it comes to the gas in the beers. It's really fascinating to have have had this conversation about that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we are a bunch of nerds here at Quantiperm and Nitro Brew. So we really rely on, the people with the art side of the brains. I don't know if that's a left or right brain.
One of them.
But they do these amazing stuff. And I'm like, sometimes with pretty simple equipment.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And every day I get surprised with these new twists on these recipes. And, somebody recently purchased one of our equipment, and they make hop-based sodas, just sodas.
Oh, wow.
Simple sodas with all natural ingredients, no high fructose corn syrup type of thing. And I'm really eager to try this.
Me too.
They're out of, yeah, right? And very refreshing, light on calories, and very lots of things like that. I'm blown away by the creativity on I don't know if culinary skills is the right phrase that applies here, but just amazing creativity, and we are just glad to be a part of making those things happen from the equipment, technology development side.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And thanks to you guys,
Of course. Yeah, you're providing a much needed service in the beverage industry. So as somebody who consumes lots of these beverages, thank you for all that you do. Dr. Tata, it was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much.
So huge thanks to Dr. Tata for taking some time with us. Really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, really awesome. And it was really cool to be able to do these past 3 episodes, these phone interviews. Really exciting to be able to get to talk to people we wouldn't otherwise be able to get on the show and get into some interesting territory that we don't always talk about. So,
yeah,
pretty awesome.
Kudos to the internet.
Yes.
Well, as I'm sure you can hear in the background, the band has started.
Yes.
And that means this fest, the doors are wide open. I mean, it's an outside space, so it was wide open anyway. But the crowd is here, the booze is flowing, the band is started, and we have a patron of the show joining us right now who has a couple of beers that were brewed for this with our very own Steph Hefner.
Because I'm awesome.
Because you are awesome. But
she is awesome.
Yeah.
But, Ron, so are you. Ron, thank you for coming up to the table, and thank you for bringing some beers, man.
Cool. No problem.
What? So I know you were teasing your Pilsner forever.
Yes.
But what else did you guys brew?
I'll let Ron talk.
Okay, Ron, what did you brew?
Well, of course, we brewed a Pilsner. This
course.
was obviously in honor of Steph and her favorite style. We also brewed a Weizenbock, which
Very
is
nice.
a German wheat Doppelbock.
Which, that is the one that you plagiarized our logo for. But that was pretty cool.
I should totally add that picture to our Beer Busters check-in.
You really should.
Yes.
So you took the our mug logo and put a little X's for eyes, tongue out face on it for the Bach, which was really cool. And we're totally not going to sue you, so that's okay.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. So
No, I told him I'm serving him with papers here at the event.
Do you have the papers with you now?
Maybe.
You have to get the papers first. Do you just carry lawsuit papers with you?
Maybe. I'm kidding. I
Always
don't.
be prepared.
So shout out to my friend Eric who recommended the name Blackout Bach, and which of course inspired the logo.
Is there a name for the Pilsner, or is it just a Pilsner?
It is the Spotted Lantern Pills.
Spotted Lantern.
Because there may have
Because of
not been a few spotted lantern flies in them.
You know,
that tried to get into the boil. I don't think they were very successful.
I see all this shit all over social media about these spotted lantern flies, and we don't get them. There's nothing down in Philly as far
You're
as I've
lucky,
ever seen.
'cause they're
But yeah,
crazy
apparently
here.
it's a big deal.
The count of kills during the brew day was probably around 50.
Nice.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
You should. Several spotted lantern flies were harmed in the making of this beer.
Yes, they were irreparably harmed.
Irreparably harmed.
Okay,
So-
I'm gonna have to recheck in this beer. I don't know how to edit check-ins on.
We have to start. So we try to start the show with a Pilsner whenever we can,
Yep.
and this Pilsner has been teased every time we've mentioned that we're coming to this event on the show. We've mentioned that Steph's going to have her Pilsner here, so this is the big moment. I don't want to presume to be the first one to try it, but I will be happy to if everyone's okay with
Go
that.
ahead.
So this recipe was inspired by Slow Pour Pills,
Yes.
which is by Bierstadt Lagerhaus, which was one of my favorite places in Denver, and it is one of my favorite Pilsners. So
Uh-oh. That's a good sign. There's a lot of pressure on this one.
I don't fucking care. I love it. So
It's
I don't
great.
care what you think.
It's really nice. It's nice. It's clean and crisp like a Pilsner should be, but it has a little bit of.
It's got like a bite.
It's got a little bit of body to it.
Yeah.
Like it's got it.
yeah,
it's
it's
not
a
super
little
thin.
creamier
Yeah.
than just to say.
So this was also another shout out, the first beer that I brewed on my new system, which happened to be our friend Joe Mann's old system.
Oh, yes,
that
yeah.
I bought from him when drove down to Richmond. And,
Very nice.
As he was moving, so I bought the system off of him.
It's pretty ballsy
Swear.
to brew a lager as your first one on a new
Yeah,
system.
that's true.
Yeah.
I guess you
Well,
could
it
say
worked.
we're drinking a little bit of Joe Man with this one.
We are
Aw.
doing.
Yes,
Thanks,
you
Joe
are.
Joe
Man,
Man.
this one's for you.
Joe Man always finds a way to touch our hearts and livers.
It was the most amazing thing in my life.
Absolutely.
We love you, Joe.
Absolutely.
So this was the Bach was inspired by Aventus, right?
Correct.
That was the inspiration behind this Weizenbock. And it is a Dutch fest, so while all the beers here are not necessarily German inspired, a lot of us tried to be inspired by German styles to serve those here. So it is neat to see that there is like I had a Bavarian wheat earlier, but of course there are still some crazy, like there's a mole stout and some hazy IPAs too. But,
there's a mole stout?
Oh yeah, and it's apparently 12%. So
God.
that's going to be like a half sip for me.
Yeah.
But Mark from Brewclear brewed that. So he brought like 6 beers, and Holly brought 8 beers. I mean, Brewclear is insane over there. They have so many beers. But so what do you think of the Bock?
It's really nice. It's like a good German Bock. It makes me want pretzels.
I'm sure you can get a pretzel here.
And what's nice about a wheat Bock is it's lighter and lower ABV, so it's definitely more on the refreshing side of Bocks, where like a Doppelbock, and I know there's a few Doppelbocks here, they're a lot thicker and heavier and, of course, higher in alcohol.
So this Bock was triple decocted.
Triple decocted.
Yes.
Nice.
Longest brew day ever.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
How long did that take?
10,
12
plus hours.
Yeah.
And we may have had to use multiple mash tuns.
Yeah,
So-
we kind of got a stuck mash at one point.
Wow. It's very nice. So it's got a great malt character to it. It's got that nice caramely, biscuity, pretzely
But
German
the
thing
yeast
going
definitely
on.
comes through. That nice, like,
does.
bubble gummy and fruity flavor. I'm very proud of these 2 beers.
Yes, thank you,
As you
Steph, for
should be.
helping.
Yeah.
I think they came out well.
And Eric helped with the pills. Eric wasn't there for the Bock right now.
No.
So thank you, Eric, for your help. Sadly, you could not be here today. But
So was it the Pilsner or the Bock when didn't your power go out at one point? And
Oh,
there was
that's
a,
right.
There was,
During the-
God,
one of the
there was a
forgot about that.
scare that one of these beers might be ruined.
Yes, I don't remember which one it was.
It was
it
the
must have
Pils.
been.
I think it was the
Pils?
Pilsner,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it had to ferment pretty cold,
Yeah.
and the power went out. The alarms were going off when I plugged it back in, or when the power came back on. But fortunately, no harm done.
I think that was when we were recording at
Ship Bottom.
Bottom,
Yep.
because when
Yes.
I was afraid we weren't going to get home because of all the flooding
Right.
near our house. So.
That's there was like an apocalypse going on back here. We were we were at the Jersey Shore where everything was fine.
Yeah. That was nuts seeing those videos, though, that your mom sent. That was
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah,
Just like-
luckily everyone is fine.
Yes.
Deluge. But
Thankfully.
yeah, and even more importantly, the beer is fine.
Yes. The beer turned out wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Wonderful.
thank you to Ron for bottling some of it, so when I'm no
Yes.
longer on blood thinners, I can drink
You can
a crap
actually
ton of it.
drink a
That's
good
the
amount.
first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to down an entire bomber bottle of that Pilsner
Yeah.
the day after I'm off the blood thinners.
Nice.
Sounds like a good way to
All right,
celebrate.
Ron, get back to work.
Yes, get
I
back to
will
work.
do.
Thank you for the
Appreciate
beers.
it.
Well done. And
Thank you.
you might be getting one of my tickets for voting.
Awesome.
You might.
Thank you.
We won all 3.
The crowd here, man, they're really into a lot of these homebrews. A lot of the homebrew stands are packed, which is cool to see because this is like a homebrew-centric fest. But the professional ones, like the actual like breweries that sell and distribute their beer, their lines are super small, man.
Well, to give a little information about that.
Yes.
The beginning of the event here, each homebrewer has a little baggie, and people that are coming into the event each get 3 little tickets.
Yes.
And they can
You
vote
vote.
for their favorite homebrew. So that's always a really exciting and fun thing to do. So
It's
a
a
lot
neat
of
idea.
people will go to the homebrews
Yeah.
first and sample all of them
Cool.
so they can decide who they're going to vote for, and then they'll probably hang and drink the commercial beers.
Well,
That's what I'm predicting.
we do have another avid homebrewer sitting at the table with us, someone who has been on the show before and really bailed us out of a hell of a pickle when you were on that episode.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run to the Mills amateur hour.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, man, that goes way back.
Yeah.
But we have, of course, Greg Galzinski jumping up to the table with us. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you guys?
We're doing good, man.
Doing good.
And like I said earlier, glad to see Stephanie back here. And
Yeah, man.
Healthy enough, and stop scaring us now.
Yeah,
It's
no,
enough now.
Yeah.
No more hospitals.
Yeah, really.
No more
Yeah,
hospitals.
yeah.
That's
Enough of
fine
that.
with me.
Yeah.
Clots are not good.
No.
No, not at all. Well, you are representing your homebrew,
Yes.
Two Locks Brewing, right?
Well, he's technically a member of Burke's Homebrew. Let's get
Correct,
that straight.
Right.
Because we are lucky to have the most awesome people in our homebrew.
That is very
Totally
true.
true, yeah.
But
That's
yes. You and Dan and Mark, right?
Correct. It started off with Dan and myself, and there's like the backstory on that is I actually played hockey many, many years ago with Dan's dad. So
No
we were
way.
like members of the same hockey team up in Hershey. And then just over the years knowing each other and like family, like both families know each other. And yeah, it's part of that whole Southeast Reading Polish community, where, you drink beer, you eat, you celebrate, and it just kind of fell together. So when I came back from Colorado and then ended up doing a service call for my regular job for his mom and dad, and he happened to be off that day, and they're like, hey, Dan, you got to come over. He's a level 1 Cicerone. He's run front of house. He knows beer. And we get to talk, and he's like, did you ever want to do more with this or whatever? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to someday. So then he wanted to start brewing, one thing led to another. He starts brewing with me. We start doing competitions and events. We're both Polish, hence Two Locks, short for Two Polacks. So that's our logo. It's like the Polish flag in the background with the Polish eagle, but instead of having the regular tail, the tail is a hop crown or a hop flower. So it's
nice.
Kind of all just fell together that way.
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
So funny. It makes
so
so
Mark,
much sense.
and then
too.
so our buddy Mark, and actually his wife was friends since they were young kids with my wife. He likes beer, wanted to get involved, start helping. So he comes over, helps a lot now. He's like does all the bulwark basically, and he's Irish, Adams, so he's our unlock.
Unlock. The Irish unlock.
But
Yeah.
So you got brought 2 beers up to the table. Spoiler alert: we did try these earlier before the fest started.
We did.
that they happen to be literally right next
but
to
they're
us.
right, so we decided we'd go ahead and grab them.
You guys actually pregame?
Sometimes,
I can't believe that.
Sometimes. We've done episode where we drink secret beers during the podcast that we don't even talk about.
Yeah, that was
Which is not always a good idea.
Yeah.
Not always a good idea.
Sometimes we also drink tequila when we record. So
Right, yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That happens. So you have a wheat beer and a saison, correct?
Correct.
All right.
We have we call it Jamaican Me Feel German. It's a traditional Bavarian wheat beer, and then we secondary it and cold age it over we actually use some pears, a couple of different types of pears, and we do a reduction of that, and then we put in a little Jamaican allspice, hence the Jamaican Me Feel German.
I like it. I like it a lot. And that's this one, right?
That's correct. And that's nice and drinkable. It's like 4.73 actually.
all right.
It's very good.
That's actually the one that we won the People's Choice with at
At Liberty.
at Liberty
yes.
Tap Room.
Awesome.
You mentioned that.
I love
I can
that a
see
wheat
why.
beer won that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
delicious. And there was something when
I was
we had
blown away because just like this event, it's like you walk around and it's like the quality of the beers coming out of home brewers.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like I don't stand a chance, And then you got the whole cast of characters that's at that event,
Yeah.
and it's just like I'm just here. I hope you like it.
You
So-
never know with stuff like this because there are so many good quality beers, and it just kind of, do the people want to drink? What do they gravitate towards? Sometimes it's more about what you brewed and the people want, and less about the quality of it.
and then
Which is
look
cool.
at today. It's cool. It's chilly. People might really go towards the stouts and the heavier beers and the headier beers. So but everybody has their palate too.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to find the Doppelbox. That's what we need.
Yeah,
They
the
gotta be around here
Doppelbock.
somewhere.
One of the guys up there has one.
There we go. We found
From
one.
Burke's. It's tasty.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Ooh,
real good.
we'll have to add that then.
I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
What I really like about this wheat beer, and when we tasted it earlier, I was thinking this too. It has a little bit of like a fruit smoothie kind of taste to it to me. Like it's got like it's got like a nice fruity character. And then the first sample we had, it was like one of the earlier pours you had done, so the carbonation was really
Low on it.
Yeah, well, no, it was actually kind of it was very effervescent, and I think
okay.
that kind of helped give it that like smoothie. character
okay.
to it. Really nice.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. There's something, and I still can't exactly pinpoint what it was, but there's something that sticks around in the back end afterwards that is just so damn delicious.
Really good.
Well, I'm glad.
But
Sticks around and it's so damn delicious.
Right.
There you go.
That's a good thing. I get.
the
There's your
path
description.
I can't say too damn delicious because that's already taken.
that's already taken. Yes. The path to my heart, though, a saison.
always a saison.
That's another one of my own recipes, and I started that when I was living out in Colorado. So it's kind of morphed over the last few years. Just real traditional base, and then we use the Bell Saison yeast. And then we rehydrate it, and then right at the very end of flame out, we add just the right amount of pink peppercorn and ground mace, which is actually the outer shell of the nutmeg. So it's just not quite as punch you in the face nutmeg.
Yeah.
So just a little bit. There's just a small amount of both at flame out.
It's really nice. It gives it. There's a nice soft character to it. That's really nice.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have a funny name for this one, or is this just your saison?
Actually, no. It's really cheesy, but it's just like it's called Notre Maison Saison.
Notre,
Which basically,
Maison?
in like French, Belgian French, it's just our house saison.
Ah,
Because we try to
okay.
keep that on all the time. It's just I like it. I don't know. It's cheap. It's my own beer, but it's one like if I'm going to keep any of my own beers on, it's one I like to. I love the Belgian style stuff. It's like you said, everybody has their palate, everybody has their thing. When I lived in Colorado, one of my buddies took me out to Funk Brewing, and that's where I had my Saison, and like first sip, I heard the Angels sing, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is it. I
love those moments.
Yeah, it was really cool. He said, I want to see your face when you drink this. He just sat there and laughed. He goes, yeah, I get that a lot.
He knew.
Yeah.
These are absolutely delicious, and we can't thank you enough for coming to the table again.
Oh, yeah, thanks
Don't
again
steal too many votes from my Pilsner, though.
Yeah, it's still a competition.
It's going to be a tough competition.
What are you going to do if you win and you win Flyers tickets?
Is that what this actually is?
She may go against her doctor's orders and do a dance right in the middle of the
hall.
That's
what Rich was saying
Yeah, probably,
I don't actually know what the prize is.
Yeah. When she hurts her leg, you guys can steal her tickets and go down to the game.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we live a stone's throw away pretty much.
That's
you should just
true.
donate those too.
We could probably just like walk.
Your favorite cousins, one of whom is wearing all Flyers gear right now.
Yeah, but is that what the
Yes, he is.
She
He's
told
all
me what the
decked out.
prize is, and I don't remember.
Oh, I mean, that's what Rich said it was. So,
I don't know what it is.
I guess we'll find out.
I have the prize, and the envelope is sealed.
You have all the power.
I have all
good
the
Lord.
power.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, thank you so much
Yes,
for
have fun.
coming up.
Oh my
to the
gosh,
table, man.
thanks for having me back. And I'm glad you enjoyed everything.
Yeah, man, they're great. Keep up the awesome work.
And
thank you.
Next time a guest cancels on us at the last minute, we're going to call you again.
Steph knows where to find me. Matter of fact, you need to come back over. You need to brew in the new system in the
It's been
basement
a while,
now. Yeah.
yes. I need to check it out.
We need to do your jalapeno smoked Roush beer again.
We should do a Beer Busters.
There you go, like a Beer Busters collab.
A Beer Busters,
Yeah,
Two Locks
where we can
collab.
brew more and then not forget to escort when it's done.
There you go, folks. You heard it. It's
there. It is.
It's happening.
It's official. It's recorded.
Got to hold them
But
to
we
it
have
now.
to wait at least 6 months.
Well, yeah.
Until then. Or we could let it like lager.
Oh, you could.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be good.
Yeah, but you have to drink while you're brewing. That's
This
what
is
I'm
true.
thinking.
Yeah,
This
that's
is true.
Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point.
All right, guys.
Well, Greg, thank you so much, man.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
having me. Take care, everybody.
Cheers, man.
This event is amazing. I love it here. There's German food. There's all German inspired beer. There's home brewers that are kicking out some great stuff. There's some professional breweries that are here. And of the professional breweries, there's one that is very near and dear to our heart collectively
Our
as
collective
a podcast.
hearts.
Our one heart.
Our one collective heart.
There's a brewery here that they're always kicking out great beer. But if it weren't for this brewery in particular, I don't know that we would exist as a podcast right now.
That's probably
Wow.
true.
Yeah.
Wow,
If-
this
if
is a
you really-
very intense introduction.
It really is. I
don't-
love how Dan takes forever to say what
I know. You got to keep them always wanting more.
brewery
That's what it
actually is.
But we are talking about stouts, and we have the woman behind everything stouts here with us right now. Carol Stout is at the table with us, and I cannot thank you enough for coming up and talking to us.
Thank you. It's a wonderful day to be here, and
it's
I
great.
just love having home brewers with commercial brewers.
Yeah.
It's so because home brewers actually inspire the commercial brewers.
Right. That is.
And the
Absolutely
commercial
there.
brewers inspire the home brewers.
Yeah, it's a nice symbiotic
it is
relationship
a symbiotic
there.
relationship.
It's wonderful.
For sure.
Now, I say, of course, that we wouldn't really exist if it weren't for stouts, because way back in the early days of us as a podcast, Steph had wanted to start her own brewery, and she was lucky enough to interview you to get some tips and tricks for the industry,
Right.
which then kind of inspired us to keep going as a podcast and do all of this. So thank you for that.
She probably doesn't.
Thank
even
you
know.
for talking about it.
Of course. So how long has stouts been around?
31 years.
I knew it had been a while. Wow.
May of 1987.
Wow.
Hey!
Made the first batch of Stout's Golden Lager.
What a coincidence. I've been around since May of 1987 also. It's like it was
We
meant
have
to
something
be.
in common.
Yeah,
I did
right?
not know that.
You like to remind people how young you are.
I
Yeah.
don't feel it.
But yeah, growing up in I say growing up, but being of beer drinking age in Pennsylvania, stouts is definitely one of our Scarlet Lady was one of my first craft
Me too.
beers, and it's
Yeah.
still one of my favorites. Yeah, it's amazing. So it's definitely
nice,
one of those.
easy drinking beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't really sometimes understand what an ESB is. They think it's bitter, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just a nice, warm, nice malty beer.
Yeah.
Great for this weather.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is
absolutely,
very true.
Absolutely.
Now, Carol, I think one of the reasons that I love you so much, besides the fact that you are like the kick-ass woman in beer, but you've gone on record many times saying that, especially in the beginning, you brewed the beers that you wanted to drink.
Absolutely.
And even though that wasn't maybe always on a business
they
side
weren't
the best
sellable,
decision,
absolutely.
But so do you still believe in that mantra even
Absolutely.
today?
I feel I have a passion for the styles that we make, and we allow our brewers to decide certain other styles. But for a long time, the pride and joy for me is our German-style Pilsner, and we could not sell it. No one wanted. In fact, Berks County still does not understand a German. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't understand a German-style Pilsner. But I think it's a fabulous beer. It was hard making it consistent, and I love to drink it, and I love when you find somebody that really appreciates it. And one time I happened to be at the bar, and there were some German technical people there that were working at Carpenter Tech Consulting, and I heard them say, "Wow, this beer tastes like it's made in Germany." And for me, that was one of the most proudest moments because I remember the Germans. They've always been coming to our restaurant and beer garden because of the ethnicity. And the beer festivals, this is before the brewery, but, people the Germans would say, well, Americans don't know how to make good beer. And now, when you hear them say, wow, they can make good beer, that makes you feel really, really good.
Yeah, that's definitely the highest compliment.
I think it is, yeah, definitely.
And I've said this so many times, our listeners know this, but Stouts Pils is still one of my go-to beers. I just love that beer. And it's so true, though. Rich and I have been to Germany a few times, and I always feel like I have to go through a cleanse when I come back because I miss the German beers so much. And it is a hard transition to get back into American craft beer because not that Americans necessarily make bad beer or don't make good beer, but it's just different beer. So having a Stouts Pils or like a Victory Lager, like we're so lucky to have some breweries in Pennsylvania that do respect the German styles, and it helps that transition a little bit for those of us that love German beer so much.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're very proud. We have a lot of good lager breweries in Pennsylvania and very close to each other, and a lot of them making Pilsners, and they're slightly different, but they're all really well made. And I'm good friends with Bill and Victory, and they're proud themselves in making the German styles, and especially Bill, not Bill, his partner, Ron. Right. He likes to make them, especially the German style, aging them appropriately, and the same as we do. We still decoct our lagers. In fact, this double bock that we're showcasing today on a Firkin is aged for 1 year, and we did double decoction.
Oh.
A lot of people think it's a waste of time, but, our brewery's very hands-on. We're not automated, and we just like the fact of doing it the old way. And for me, I think it gives a lot of stability and extra body to the beer.
Yeah, my buddy Ron and I, we brewed 2 beers for the event. Of course, one is a Pilsner, and we did a Weizenbock.
Oh, nice.
And we did a triple decoction on that.
Wow.
With a stuck mash. So it was definitely a long brew day, but we're really proud of the outcome.
Out really good.
So it was delicious.
We'll have to try those.
Yeah, we're right over here. You will have to try it.
Right.
I'm curious to get your take on our Pilsner. I'm very pleased with it.
Is it a North German style or Bohemian?
It was actually inspired by Slow Pour Pils by Bierstadt Lagerhaus in Denver. That was
their beers are phenomenal.
Their beers are amazing.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite stops when we were out in Denver 2 years ago. So, and our Weizenbock, it was inspired by Aventus, which is of course is a classic German brewery.
Absolutely.
So, and I love that a lot of the homebrewers here sort of embrace this whole Dutch brewers idea, and there are many German-style beers here. But of course, we still have some IPAs and such, which is
if people really want to be honest, lagers, anyone can drink a lager.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
Whether it's a light lager, medium-bodied, or full-bodied. Mm-hmm. It's not demanding to the palate.
Well, can I
my opinion,
borrow the glass and maybe we can each try?
Sure.
I'm excited to
Absolutely.
try this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it smells amazing.
Nice roasty. Good for this time of year. So it was aged 1 year.
Oh, yes.
I love the color of it.
We should do just
Beautiful.
a Doppelbock.
Yeah, deep copper color.
I would do a Doppelbock Fest. That would be great.
Oh, my God. Oh, that's incredible.
An Eisbock. We want to do an Eisbock this year. We haven't done one for years. again, a hard beer to do, and also a lot of people don't understand it. But again, that doesn't mean you can't do it.
Right. Oh, I love a good
Same with Rauch beer. That's another beer we want to try. We made a Rauch beer. In fact, I was lucky to have Michael Jackson and Charlie Papazian stop at the brewery that time, and Michael kept writing about this Rauch beer, and people were, wondering, when are you going to brew this Rauch beer? Well, it took us a year to sell the beer. We have to try it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Schlenkerla is one of my favorite.
Yes.
I'm a vegetarian, so I always tell people that's how I get my meat, is I drink smoked beers.
I like that.
Those are so good.
like that.
I feel like Rauch beers, though, they're hard to sell, hard to push onto people. Not push on people, but hard to get people behind, just because of what it really is. I mean, first time I had a smoked beer at all, I did not want to go back for more.
And I think Steph may have started you with Schlenkerla, which may not be the best introductory Rauch beer.
That's at the high level.
That's very serious smoked beer.
That's when you become a smoked beer master.
Yeah. Now I love it. I mean, I got to be in the mood for it, not going to lie. But
yeah, it's definitely not like a beer you down, or like you're just thirsty for a beer. It's not normally a go-to. But
And it can be a bit of an intimidating style if you're not used to it. Yeah, so I think it is. But yeah, definitely something worth getting into. And definitely one of the more interesting German styles out there.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would trust stouts with it for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, we have a second beer.
Yeah, what's the
I don't
other
think
one?
I know what this is.
This is barrel-aged Saison.
Oh.
It's barrel-aged in Sauvignon Blanc.
Well then, you hit both keywords for us: barrel-aged and saison.
Yep.
And this was aged for a year.
Nice.
Look at the nice orange color.
Oh my
It's
God.
beautiful.
Has some sweet notes to it. A little bit tart. See what you think.
Oh, you get the oakiness from the barrel.
Oh, I
That's
love the
a nice
aroma.
balance to the sweetness and the tartness.
Well, with barrel age, you really need to taste the style of the beer, plus the barrel has to add. It has to be that marriage.
Has to be balanced.
Correct.
That's definitely a Wayne beer. That has your name written all over it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's very nice.
It's very subtle and sophisticated.
Yeah.
It's so exciting that Stouts has, and it just seems like your portfolio has been blossoming over these last few years. I mean, you have your core beers that are just tried and true and everyone loves, but I love some experimental styles and the new styles.
Right.
So what are
Thank
some
you.
other new beers that are in the works?
We're really lucky. We just bought an experimental system, a two-barrel.
Oh, nice.
So we can really play not only with different malts and hops, but with different yeasts. So on that, we did the first experiment of our new Gear Shifter IPA. And now that's in full production in cans with Mosaic and Citra.
Ooh.
And we just brewed a Imperial Lager with that. So with aggressive hoppiness. And we did an Imperial Pilsner with that's overhopped.
Interesting.
Or hop more than our regular Pilsner. And we're doing a series of Queen of Hops in 16-ounce cans. And those will be a Brut IPA. Everyone wanted us to do a New England style, and we don't like to copy, number one. And I love dry, and when I was out in Denver this year, I tasted a lot of Brut IPAs, and I loved them.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Loved them. So we're going to do that. We're also doing our first ever wit beer.
Oh, I didn't realize you guys haven't done one.
First, never done a
surprising.
wit beer. So we're going to try beers that we've never done before.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm actually happy to hear that you skipped over the New England and went right to the Brut IPAs. There's some integrity.
We had people, I mean, why go back to archaic ways of brewing?
Yeah.
Especially lager breweries, you strive for clarity and perfection. I just don't get it, to be honest with you, but like I always say, to each his own.
Yeah. It's true.
Whoever loves them, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Say more lager for me then.
Well, exactly. I always say I'll never knock anybody for drinking a beer that they like. If you like it, drink it. It's for you. I'm with you on the archaic part. Somewhere along the way, one of the breweries we were at, somebody had said that 4 or 5 years ago,
if you brewed a beer that looked like a New England IPA, you'd be fired.
Yeah.
You'd be blacklisted from breweries at that point. Because you're right, you strive for clarity. Clarity is what should be there. And again, not to knock anybody who drinks the style or brews the style, but it shows the evolution of it, but it might also be a step backwards at the same time.
Exactly. And I know a lot of New England brewers that are really not, fond of people thinking that's all they brew up there.
Yeah, there are some amazing breweries up there that we were just in Maine not that long ago and went to Oxbow, and oh my gosh, the saisons that they're brewing, the barrel-aged beers, and we went to Allagash, and
Allagash is always number one for me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that place is absolutely amazing. And the complex that Allagash is in, for no one that's been there are at least a dozen breweries within walking distance just in that area. And I said, I don't care. I'm going to Allagash. I'm drinking every single beer they have on tap, and that's it. I was planning my alcohol consumption for the day.
I also like the cult that the brewers have in Maine and Vermont especially. They're very loyal. The taverns and bars are loyal to their Maine beers and their Vermont beers. It's one thing I think in Pennsylvania I think we lack. There are a few bars that promote just Pennsylvania beers, but I think there really should be more, because definitely there's a lot of fabulous beers brewed in Pennsylvania.
Oh, for sure. And we brew more beer than any other state.
That's true.
I know.
That's amazing.
Can you think about that?
Yeah, right?
That's huge. So for our listeners, currently, what is Stout's reach? How far do you distribute?
We actually pulled in our market a couple years ago. We're only selling beer in Pennsylvania. Reason being is I have a certain capacity because of the way my brewery's set up, and I really want to. My philosophy was, when I first started, was only to brew beer for Berks in Lancaster County. Philadelphia was far.
Yeah.
So and now there's so many little villages and towns throughout Pennsylvania that are now accepting craft beer, pale ales, and the Golden Lager are kind of ones they like first. And for me, that's enriched. So our energy is now put all in the state of Pennsylvania.
That makes me happy.
That does.
So if you want Stout's beer, you have to come to Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
And you won't regret it.
And it's worth the trip, no matter where you're coming from.
That is true.
Absolutely.
And we've, before we let you go, we have talked, of course, we're a beer podcast, so we've gushed about the beer, but of course there's the restaurant as well,
right?
Which is sort of your husband's baby, and you did the brewery.
He's been in the restaurant for 55 years.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
55 years.
And he's still a very sharp dresser. I always look forward to see what
Still
he's wearing.
cuts all his meat, but some people think we're just a steakhouse, which it used to be, but no, we've diversified. Steak is now only a small portion because you have to deal with the vegetarians and the people that eat like seafood.
You got to deal with the vegetarians, Steph.
I go for the cheese plates. I mean, come on. The cheese that they serve there is unlike anywhere else.
Yeah. So we have all three types of fermentation. We have the bread, the beer, and the cheese.
And the market
makes us happy.
The market is right there as well, so you can get some things to go. But so if you've never been, it is quite an experience.
I actually don't think I have ever been.
What?
I know.
Well, why
am
I talking to you?
I know, I'm sorry. It's always on my list, but I am always just so crazy
Well, and since
busy.
they moved to South Philly, it's a
little
lot harder.
harder.
Yeah, like you said, Philly's far.
Although whenever I'm driving on the turnpike towards Central PA, I can always tell where I am by the Stout signs.
The billboard.
the billboard.
We're 2 miles from the exit,
Yep.
286. So when you're traveling somewhere else, you need a little pit stop.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
I should do that. I apologize that it's taken me 31 years to still admit that I haven't been there.
There's still time.
That's
you have
true.
to catch up to me, and then
That's going to be a lot catching up. Jeez. Oh, man. Well, Carol, we can't thank you enough for taking some time and
Thank
talking
you.
to us. I mean, the
Yeah.
Brewers are always incredible. It's a destination I know I need to get to. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
no worries.
I think I've been there enough for the three of us. To be
Yes.
honest.
That's true,
yeah.
So
True.
It's all right.
Well, we wish you the best for the
Thank
rest of
you.
the day and everything with Stouts, and thank you so much.
And let us know when that ice box is coming.
Yes.
I will do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, thanks you as well.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
Hey guys, we want to tell you about Audible. Audible has audiobooks available for download, and you can listen to them on the go, in the car, while you're jogging, while you're drinking beer. You can find books like Brewing Up a Business, Adventures in Beer from the founder of Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, revised and updated. Find books like that and more at audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Once again, go to audibletrial.com/beerbusters. Get a free 30-day trial of Audible and download and keep one audiobook forever.
This event just keeps getting better and better. The band is actually kicking out some great sounds over there.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Not that I thought they wouldn't be, but like I figured it would just be all German music, but they're playing like popular songs.
Yeah.
Like they just played Steve Miller Band.
Then the sun is out.
Yeah, sun's out. It's a little chilly, but it's not too
crisp
cold.
out. It's a perfect fall day.
I love it. And there's plenty of great beer here to help with this perfect day. And we could not go without having somebody from Sly Fox on the show. So we've got Corey back. We, if longtime listeners will remember, way back in the day, the beginning of this year, we went to
so long ago.
Yeah, so long ago to the AC Beer and Music Festival, and Corey was kind enough to join us then. So thanks for coming back, man.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for having me back.
We're a
again.
little more awake and sober this time.
Well,
I don't believe that for a second.
No,
I'm not.
You've got different medicine coursing through your veins. I'm still hungover and super tired. And Wayne, you look like you're tired.
Yeah, I am tired. This is what it looks like the day after we do a podcast at Evil Genius.
Yeah, why did we do this to ourselves?
Understood, Luke.
Yeah.
That guy's he's mean.
Luke wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
We had Trevor, and Garrett sat in for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was a good time.
It was fun.
But there's a lot happening in the world of Sly Fox nowadays, huh? You guys have a new location?
We
coming
do,
up?
yeah. We were hoping to be open already in West Reading, but as any typical construction project, it never quite goes to plan.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Last I heard was March. We're looking
Cool.
at maybe being open by March.
That's
but
exciting.
The excitement is amazing. Like, everybody in Berks County knows it's coming. I can't do an event without somebody saying, holy shit, can't wait for you to get here. When are you coming? So when we do open the doors, we need to be prepared, because I can tell West Reading is definitely
gonna be
prepared.
Oh, yeah. West Reading is definitely the place to go and drink around here. That's for sure.
Where exactly is the new location?
It's in what was the old Vanity Fair.
That's what I thought, yeah. Okay.
So there are all kinds of stuff going on there. There's going to be tons of restaurants, nightlife.
Oh, wow.
Apartments, I believe, UGI
Makes sense.
headquarters, so there's a lot of construction.
My
so.
orthopedic doctor is moving over there, too.
Wow,
actually.
really?
Yeah,
There
my
you go.
next appointment will be at the new office.
Wow.
And you'll be able to stop into Sly Fox for a beer afterwards.
So are the
In a
outlets
few months.
Are
In a
the
few
outlets
months.
officially closed?
Oh, yeah.
There's one building that's still VF.
Wow.
But
yeah.
that whole complex used to be all of VF.
But it's awesome that something is happening with the space, and
Yeah.
even more awesome that one of those somethings is Sly Fox.
Plus, West Reading in general in the last handful of years has come such a long way. Like that is a fun town to just kind of wander the streets. They're always doing fun fall festivals, and so yeah, we can't wait to be part of that. And we're already pretty close to Berks County and Pottstown. So,
Right.
So yeah, we're only kind of moving right down the road. So yeah, it's very exciting. Probably be some similar to our Pottstown location as far as brick oven pizza, outdoor dining, but maybe throw in some ping pong and shuffleboard and always, again, family-friendly atmosphere. That's something we strive to do. And we'll continue that in Reading.
I think more breweries need to have ping pong.
Ping pong.
Yeah.
I played ping pong in the snow at Frankfurt Hall in Philly.
I love Frankfurt Hall. I love that place.
That was so fun. And talk about putting backspin on it on a snow-covered ping pong table.
Good God.
Oh, I love that. That's one of my favorite Philly spots. Now I'm not going to stop smiling. So I noticed that you guys have a new mixed pack of cans.
Yes, we do. It's pretty cool. It's called the Wide Open Variety Case, but the 360 lid that we've been using on the Hellas can and the 360 can is really getting a lot of traction. It's popular as could be, but it's only legal in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So it's very difficult for us to sell that beer elsewhere. So it was a tough decision to decide to make a variety case with all 360 lids, because we can't sell that anywhere but PA.
That still blows my mind.
It really sucks.
It's
but
weird, yeah.
There's no way we can pump the brakes on something so cool, so we decided then we won't sell it anywhere else except in PA. So So it's brand new, but 3 of the cans in there, the SRT, the Pikeland Pilsner, and the Volpulin is only available with a 360 lid if you buy that variety case.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
I love the 360 can.
That's the appeal.
It's so awesome.
So unfortunately, we can't sell it in other states for now, but whatever. We're
Gotta
from PA.
come to PA.
We're from PA. So
Listen, if you're listening to this in New Jersey, call your local congressman. You have a lot to
Damn right.
discuss
Yes.
when it comes to beer in Jersey right now.
But
you have a lot to
they
talk
are
about.
listening, so keep talking. They
I
are
say,
listening.
oh, by the way, the can thing.
Yeah,
just throw that in there.
So it is a PA Dutch Fest, so I feel like we have to drink a few of the German style. So the first one I chose was the Helles, of course. I think we've technically had all 3 of these beers before, but they are so great. I think they're worth bringing back up in discussion.
Absolutely.
Reminding people how amazing these beers are. So tell us about the Helles.
Helles Golden Lager is just such a traditional Munich-style lager. When you envision that Bavarian sitting in a beer garden, drinking a liter of beer, that's typically the style they're drinking. Clean, crisp, and easy to have multiple glasses. So, yeah, very, very traditional. And it's funny because the light, lean, clean beers, I don't think people recognize that they're the hardest ones to brew.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can't hide. There's any imperfection is going to glare at you. So a Helles is a very difficult style to brew, and they take a lot of time. So to sit in the tank for 8 weeks consumes time. Time is money, so it's a little more tricky, but it's great here in PA. So many brewers stick to the roots of traditional Munich-style lagers, and that's hopefully a pretty good example of one of them.
Very good example.
It's always so good. I mean, I've had it a million times. I knew it was going to be good.
It's amazing. We are so lucky to live in Pennsylvania and have so many breweries that still respect the classic styles and do them so well.
And to be able to come to a fest and drink those styles and have bratwurst and sauerkraut and really good horseradish on the condiment table over there. That horseradish is really good. Just saying.
You are excited about
Take
that.
your word for it. Jeez.
And of course, it is fall and crisp and cool here, so we have to have the Oktoberfest.
Yay.
Now, this is a Märzen-style Oktoberfest,
It is, yep, Märzen style. And it's interesting. American versions of Oktoberfest are really all over the map. And lots of traditional German Oktoberfest, I feel, are pretty light. A lot of American versions can tend to be a little bigger, a little maltier. Yep. So we all kind of have our own interpretation of it. But I feel like ours is a blend of a little bit of a traditional German style and a little bit of American style as well. A bit more body to it. But
yeah, what I like about this beer is that it has a really nice malt character to it, but it isn't super dark and super heavy. It still drinks really easy, and it's something you could have a liter of, and eat some sausage and swill it.
Are you going to get
You
more
cannot
bratwurst?
get past the
I
sausage.
said sausage, man. I'm
You
thinking
just
about
cannot.
sausage now.
yeah, I'm a total Pennsylvania Dutchman. I grew up in Boyertown, so this is speaking my language right now.
Ring bologna, cube cheese.
The Dutch platter.
Yep.
But I'm going home tonight for spaghetti, meatballs, and Oktoberfest.
Nice.
There you go.
That's an interesting combo.
Tis the season.
Yeah. It's definitely
Can't
the
eat
season.
schnitzel every day.
Well, and the schnitzel apparently sold out already.
No, I saw Ron and Jen having some after they told us that.
Oh, did they? Oh, good. So maybe they got more. Maybe they were just
Or they
out
were
of
just
what was
lying
there.
so they could have it all themselves.
The Liederkranz schnitzel is the real deal.
You might have to go get more food.
No, I shouldn't.
Dan's trying to be healthy. He's been doing a really good job.
Aw, I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I mean, doctor's orders and all, but still.
Yeah, but
So one of the beers, another beer that's in the new mix pack, of course, is this new IPA. What is it? Well, newish IPA. I guess it's been around for a
It
bit.
is relatively new. Yeah, it's called Volpulin. And just a new take of an IPA. We've had 113 for almost 20 years now.
Wow.
We released 360 IPA about 5 years ago. But today's contemporary IPAs certainly have a little more hop aroma, lighter body. So we kind of want
I like that. Contemporary IPA.
Yes.
I approve of that.
Yes, this is certainly contemporary as opposed to 113, which I call old school.
Yeah,
Very
OG.
malty, very balanced. But it's nice because now we have 3 IPAs in our portfolio, and they don't step on each other's toes
That's
because they're all very, very different. Even though they're IPAs, you have an old school malty IPA, you have the new contemporary Volpulin, and 360 is kind of that citrusy, medium-bodied IPA. So it is kind of cool to have 3 of the exact same style of beer, and they don't step on each other's toes.
they all sort of occupy different parts of that spectrum.
What hops are used in that one?
Mosaic is definitely one of the big dry hoppers.
Yeah.
Bravo as well.
Okay.
But yeah, the Mosaic hop in dry hopping has become very popular because it's such an easy aroma to identify. And
I love Mosaic. I'm not a big IPA fan, but I do quite enjoy that beer.
Yeah, this is great.
It's really, really nice.
This is something I don't say too much, but the mouthfeel of it's really nice.
Well, and you know what's crazy is today's IPAs, there's so many hazy, big, and chewy, which is fine. But I like to drink a clean beer that I can put down a few of, and so a nice, clean, filtered IPA also is very enjoyable.
For sure.
For sure. It's delicious.
You guys, of course, I know you were super busy during Beer Week, but I was at one of the events. It was such a great event. It was at the Grey Lodge pub. It was the Pilsners and Pierogies event, which was awesome. Not only was it great for that, but here's where, and we mentioned this when we were at Evil Genius in the last episode, that's one of the only times in my life I've ever lost Connect 4.
Wow.
Did I beat you? I was kicking some ass at Connect 4.
You were kicking some ass, but there was some other dude there. I made it to like the semifinals, and dude was just on the attack right out of the gate, and I didn't step up my defense, and I lost, and it still bugs me. And there was a really nice prize bucket from that, and I was really bummed I didn't get.
Yeah, that was a fun event. Scoats at Grey Lodge always has the most unique, eclectic events, and Pills and Pierogies is certainly one of them. But we love that event. I was there. I know I played 1 or 2 rounds at Connect 4, and
it was fun. Who else was there? There were it was you guys, and there were 2 other breweries that were there for that, doing other stuff.
Jesus Christ, I can't.
I've
done so many events between now and then.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Was that the same day we did the Devil's Den thing?
No, that was a couple days after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was the last event that I went to for Beer Week. It was great. The pierogies were awesome.
The pierogies were killer. Yeah,
they paired very nicely with the Pikeland Pills.
Yeah, we've done cool events with him. We've done our Pinewood Derby there, the hula hoop contest. I mean, he's always doing fun and unique events, and that's right up our alley.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, I loved it. But now you have to next year have another event with more Connect 4, and I have to win. Like it's in me now.
Yeah, I'm going to start practicing too. I love that game.
It's so great. It's kind of annoying how much this bugs me that I lost that. Sorry. Do you remember what beer was in that bucket? Because I really wanted it.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Were they bottles or
bottles?
Cans?
Yeah, it was a 22-ounce something. And I think it was corked and caged.
Yeah, probably Incubus.
Yes, it was that. Because I remember I was singing Incubus on the way out.
There you go. Yep, that's our Belgian triple.
Oh God, is that still available?
Yes, it is in draft. Yeah, we do a draft
actually
every first Friday of the month. We always serve that at our pubs.
Oh, cool!
So it's the only time to get that beer draft is first Friday at either of the pubs. But it's become a really fun event.
Nice.
I like first Saturday stories. When I hear people telling me, holy shit.
I would imagine. Jesus. Well, we can't thank you for coming back up to the show enough, man. It's always fun having you.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to hold on to this Oktoberfest.
Please do. I will probably sneak over for... You guys have the pills over at the stand, right?
We do.
Is it Pikeland?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm getting at least one of those before we're done.
I'll bring some back to you as soon as I take my headphones off.
All right. Awesome. Well, in that case, goodbye. Awesome. Thanks, Corey, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, cheers, guys.
We'll see you again.
Well, joining us at the table now from Girls by Now, we have Keisel. How are you tonight?
Very good, thanks.
Today, I guess. Well, thank you for coming up to the table. So what is Girls by Now, for those who are not in the know?
So Girls by Now, our whole mission is to teach women about craft beer and to encourage women to love craft beer, try different craft beer. So... there's over 100 chapters nationwide, including Washington, D.C. So we have all sorts of different types of events, anything from where you just come, try different beers, or where we teach you about beers. Our whole mission is to educate women about craft beer and to educate men that there are women who love craft
of course,
beer.
Yeah.
Rich and I attended an event, a Girls Pine Out event, because it was the men were invited to that one. A lot of them are women only, but this one the spouses and boyfriends were invited. But it was at Shaler Brewing, and it was the cookie one, right? You made all of those the Christmas cookies.
Whoa.
And they all had beer in them, and she had all the recipes for the cookies that you could take the recipes home.
So cool.
Pretty awesome. That's cool.
But it was really cool. We got to the brewer was there, so we got to talk to him, and then we got to try beers, and what I loved is it was a fun time. It was informative, but it also wasn't pretentious, or it didn't feel like, I don't know, it was just comfortable. Because a lot of times I think people hesitate to do events like that because you're like, oh, I don't know a lot about this, but it was so welcoming, and I met a lot of really cool people that night.
And it's everything from women who have no knowledge about craft beer to women
To
who...
Steph.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Aw, those are the nicest things you've ever said to me.
That's pretty awesome. I know you guys were talking a little earlier about how, like, when we do fests a lot of times and we have, like, a little table or something, or if we're out doing a podcast and, like, just general, not so much the people who, like, work in the industry, because I think they tend to know, like, that girls know about beer too, but a lot of times, like, just people that are at beer fest will come up and they'll, like, come up to me and Dan and start, like, talking to us about beer and stuff. And not that me and Dan are, like, you know, we're no slouches. We know, you know, a decent amount about beer, but Steph, as you know, we mentioned, is by far the most beer educated among us, and people just assume because she's the woman that she is not the one to talk to. And it's cool to see organizations like that to, like, you know, get women involved in craft beer and to prove to the boys that they can do it just as well as we can.
We were doing it first.
That's actually that's true.
So what inspired you to start a Berks chapter of Girls Pine Out?
So actually, I started out drinking Michelob Ultra, but I would always try my husband's darker beers. Now, I like the darker beers, so I was like, there have to be more women who are interested in craft beer, who want to learn more about craft beer. So I started researching on the internet, and I found Girls Pine Out, and I found that there was no chapter locally as far as Berks County. So I started the Berks County chapter, and we've been in existence since August of 2016. So we just celebrated our second anniversary.
That's awesome. Cool. And if people want to learn more about Girls Pine Out, I know you guys have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. So what do people search for?
So it would be Girls Pine Out Berks County. That's our Facebook page. If you go to the national page, you can find the Berks County chapter.
Definitely check out their Facebook page. And because you're a strong woman that loves strong beer, I picked the strongest beer possible for us to sip on. Unfortunately, our friend from Neshaminy Creek had to bust out of here, but he did drop some cans at our table, so I chose to crack open Somebody Stole My Eyes.
Oh my God, that is a frightening
Have
label.
you seen the label?
Holy crap.
That is awesome.
It is
Somebody
freaking
stole
awesome.
my eyes.
It is. Oh, it's only 9.6%. Okay, I was expecting more.
It's still single digits.
And I thought this was an appropriate beer to drink on the show because it is their GABF Pro-Am collaboration.
Oh, cool.
Cool. It's an American barley wine, and it was brewed with home brewer Anthony Steinauer. I hope I said his name correct. So,
cool.
The Pro-Am, of course, is an opportunity for home brewers and commercial brewers to collaborate on a beer together and enter it for a chance to win a GABF medal, which is super, super cool. So another example of the commercial and homebrew worlds coming together just like this event. So it's all come full circle. You're welcome.
Wow.
Very, very on topic.
Look at me when I'm sober.
I know, right?
I'm not used to it.
Enjoy it for these next 6 months, people.
Oh, my goodness.
But I am not a huge barley wine person. My brother is a huge barley wine person. But the sip that I did have, it is quite a delicious beer.
It's very approachable.
I was going to say approachable, but I don't want that to come across as a negative thing.
No, not at all. It's normally barley wines are very kind of in your face and they smack your palate and you feel it.
I mean, you still know it's a freaking barley wine.
Of course.
And that it's almost 10%, but
it gets the flavor across while still being pleasant to drink.
It is. It's very good.
It's got a very sweet aroma.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had a barley wine. I feel like you don't see them around as much as you used to.
It's definitely, I hate for that stigma, like, oh, it's cold, so I'm going to drink this kind of beer. But a barley wine is definitely like a warm you up.
It's heavy, malty, boozy beer.
Yeah, it is definitely a sit by the fire, as we are.
Yeah. I'm the crazy guy that'll drink it in the dead of July, but...
So will my brother.
Yeah, so will I.
Yeah. Dan doesn't drink beers that are less than 7%.
It's almost true.
Almost true.
Well, he does, but he needs to wash it down with a 10%
with a barley wine. Yeah. It's imperial barrel aged.
That was nice of them to drop those cans off for us.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, that's awesome. I love Neshaminy Creek.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
Everyone there is amazing.
And their labels, and I know we talked about this when we did the episode there, but I just love their labels and their names. And somebody stole my... I didn't even know that's what it was called until you said that.
It is the best can.
It is so awesome.
Frightening. That's a crazy label. So if somebody is interested in going to an event with Girls Pint Out, obviously they can find them, on the website and the social media.
Right.
Do you have to register for the event, or is it just open doors, whoever comes in?
It's just whoever comes in.
Great.
Every now and then we have events that require tickets, but our next 2 events, December will probably be at Hidden River
love that
in
place.
Douglasville.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, so I don't have the details of that worked out yet. But you just join us for a pint for the most part. Most events are not ticketed. Most events are women only.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then we have events that include significant others, spouses, guy friends, whatever you want to bring. So, but just keep an eye on our Facebook page, and we post everything there.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
And you also have a newsletter or email list that you send out, which I love because then that reminds me of the upcoming events. So do you have an email address that people can reach out to you if they'd want to join your mailing list?
So the email is burks@girlspintout.org.
burks@girlspintout.org. That makes sense.
There you go. So if you want to join the mailing list, shoot her an email or just like them on Facebook and check out the events there. But I know Facebook likes to control what we see, so
yeah, their
that's why I
algorithms are
like
weird.
the emails, because then I know it's coming to me.
That's true.
Well, Giselle, thank you so much for coming up to the show, coming up to the table, and chatting with us for a little bit.
Thank you.
And it's a great thing that you're doing. It's wonderful. There needs to be more awareness around women in craft beer. Because like Wayne had said, it's a lot of guys will come up and talk to us about it when Steph is clearly the smartest one out of the 3 of us when it comes to beer.
I'm the smartest one out of the 3 of us,
I was
period.
waiting for you to do it.
True. Yeah, that's probably true.
You really are. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the same genes as your brother, and your brother's a fucking...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, he's not at the table, or I couldn't say that.
Oh, man. But Giselle, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest
Have
of your
fun.
day.
Enjoy those strong beers.
Yes. And joining us at the table now, we have Hank, who's from Freycon's Cidery. Hank, how are you, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Great.
We had a pronceination lesson for him.
Yeah, probably.
Start is freaking awesome.
Freaking awesome. I like that. So I have to ask, why a cidery?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's something that you're kind of forced to do when you are a third generation fruit growing family.
Okay.
And you like
enough.
alcohol, so you just kind of like just have to do that.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
So things could be worse.
Right. Exactly.
Things could be worse.
Yeah.
Well, we need a little bit of a primer because our next episode is going to be a current cider.
Yes.
In,
Cool.
in
Yeah.
Philly.
Joe gets. Yeah.
So we've tried some ciders on the show before. We've been to breweries that also do ciders. We did Windridge not too long ago.
Yeah.
That's going to be our first cidery episode.
Like, specifically a
yeah,
cidery.
like we've been talking about beer for 5 years and we have no idea.
So
got
quick,
Philly cider
crash
week.
course. What do we need to know before we record with Joe?
Okay. Let's see. Are you? You got to talk a lot because he doesn't like to talk.
All right,
I can tell him I said that.
all right.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Talk a lot.
No, Joe's great. He's on the board with we started the Pennsylvania Cider Guild. Actually, believe it or not, Pennsylvania is the 4th largest apple producing state in the nation in terms of apple output.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was one of the first. Well, Johnny Appleseed's from Pennsylvania,
yep.
so John Chapman.
Nice.
So was out there planting cider apples early on. So yeah, so Joe is on the board of the guild with me and my brother and a few other great orchard and cideries and urban cideries in the area.
Nice. I don't know why I remember this, but in like 3rd or 4th grade, we had to watch a video about Johnny Appleseed, and I guess I forgot he was from Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Martin Short played him.
Oh, yes. That's
I
nice.
don't know why I remember that or what business I had as a 4th grader knowing
I feel
who
like
Martin
that's
Short is.
In 4th grade, I dressed up as Johnny Appleseed and had to do a presentation on him.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. I had the pot on my head and everything.
You look nothing like Martin Short.
Wait, this is radio, right?
Theater of the mind.
Oh, my God. So where is the cidery then, Hank?
Sure. So we're in Boyertown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So not too far from here.
Yeah.
Our main store is right on 562 in Boyertown, and then we also started a brew pub and restaurant called The Other Farm, which is actually named. It's like an internal lingo. So growing up, it was like, hey, my dad was like, can you pick me up? I'm going to be down at The Other Farm, and I need to go up to the pick your own. So we couldn't figure out what to call the brewery restaurant, and so we figured we'd call it the Other Farm. So,
that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, so that's right down on the main street of Boyertown. We'll be there tonight watching the Halloween parade. So
nice, cool.
Yeah, but the orchard, we do pick your own right now. A lot of times of the year we have different events. If you like us on Facebook or look us up online, but it's a great time of the year to go out, drink some cider, and pick apples. So.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So are you I know you're the owner and operator. Are you also the cider maker?
Yeah, so we're actually a pretty big organization. My brother is really the main grower these days. He took over the growing operations from my dad, and then my focus is more on the value-added businesses and on that side, which includes the alcohol manufacturing. And so myself and our business partner, Jamie Bach, who's actually right now finishing cleaning. We just did another canning run today, so he's our main maker. I do a lot of the blending and a lot of the strategies and the business side, and then my brother and I co-operate the overall franchise itself. So.
Very cool.
So it's like a big family sort of. Bunch of different sides and facets to the business.
We have a retail store. We do a pick-your-own operation. We have a bakery. We're in about 8 farmers markets throughout the Philadelphia area. Our ciders are now, Shelton Brothers picked us up a few years ago, so we're distributed. We have a festival this weekend in Denver that they're sponsored. So we've been pretty busy growing.
That festival is going to be amazing.
It's pretty good. I've been there before. Unfortunately, I couldn't go this year, so I wanted to come here.
The Shelton Brothers have a reputation for putting on quite the fest.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's good company to be in.
We're really excited to be with them. That was a suggestion from a friend of mine, Brian O'Reilly, said you should call them up. And I think our ciders pair well with their line because we're really trying to teach people about the apple. A lot of times people think of apple as a beer process, and there's really no cooking or heating. It's really much more akin to wine making. Right. So you're really thinking about blending strategies, pH strategies. What kind of apples have more tannins, which ones have more sharps and acids, and then like our Scrumpy, for example, uses a lot of New World and Old World. Old World being those from the UK, which if you start looking back at a lot of your traditional cider apples, they were really meant for drinking as an alcoholic beverage.
Wow. So which one do you think is Scrumpy?
Which one do I think is Scrumpy? Yeah.
I'd have to say ciders look a lot more similar.
Yeah.
Yes, is that one?
Let me smell it. So that's the sweet.
Aha.
That's our new citrus sweet. Okay. And then this would be the Scrumpy, I bet. That's actually... Yeah. Is that ours?
Yep.
I hope so.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Scrumpy. All right, just making sure.
He is human. I love it.
Yeah,
well, Wayne, do you want to start with
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to try this.
Yeah.
I love the name. I have to ask first where the name came from.
Well, the name is actually a style. So just like wines, you have styles. So in the West Country of England, you had... Scrumpy typically referred to like when the cider's orchard had a lot of unselected apples where they were just sort of, I'm going to take a little of this and a little of that and kind of make it into the cider maker's choice. And the term rough comes to mind because it's usually unpolished. We do a light filtration on that, so we'll do a 1-pass filtration. But rough also means dry. So so Scrumpy style means more of like that craftier West style. And so the difference with ours is we use a lot of Old World apples like Yarlington Mill, Kingston Black, apples you may have never heard of. And then we also use some newer world apples like Golden Russet, which is actually from around 1823. Also a crab apple called Hislop crab from the 1800s. And then so it's a mix of heritage and West Country English apples that go into that.
It's so complex.
It is.
Yeah. You get like a bright up front with like a nice long finish.
Yeah.
It's very
it really
cool,
is. And it's got like some white wine kind of characters, but then it's also got that like fruity sweetness to the apple. It finishes very dry.
Yeah.
I never got hugely into ciders. I mean, I've had a lot, in our adventures. Like I said, we've been to a lot of places that have them. But it really is interesting. It's a whole different world, and it's fun to drink something that I really don't know a whole lot about.
Yeah. It's definitely a journey. Like it's such a great. One of the great things about beer is you can actually really open it up, and there's so many variants, and we've learned a lot over the last few years with the craft beer revolution. I think cider's just on that edge where there's some early pioneers like Steve Wood out of Farnham Hill. But really, for the most part, cider was always just thought of as like more of a wine cooler kind of format.
Right.
And now it's kind of people are starting to understand it's about the apple, and the apple, just like a grape. You have single varietal ciders. We do a single varietal golden russet, and then the Scrumpy is one of more of our blends, like you'd see in the wine world, like a cuvee.
Yeah, I love learning about it because, so you mentioned wine. Like, as far as I've ever been concerned, there's red grapes and green grapes, and that's it. And then apples, there's red apples and there's green apples. And there's so many more.
White, red, and rosé.
Yeah, and then I learned about Golden Delicious a couple of years ago, and that's my favorite apple to eat so far.
Though apparently that is, and I remember talking about this, Golden Delicious isn't really used much in cider. That's more of a culinary.
It is more of a culinary apple, but there are certain apples that are culinary that are great blending agents. So we actually like to use Golden Delicious on a blending side. I'll tell you, a Gala would be an example of a culinary apple that you really don't want to use in cider. I don't really see a lot of the taste. The profile drops very quickly. It's not the cleanest apple, but Golden Delicious is one of those that you can use, but you really want to balance it out with some other more like wine sap, Stamen wine sap. Some of the Macintosh is a great one for aromas. So we in our Scrumpy we use an antique apple called Winter Banana. Believe it or not, it's like a big yellow apple, and it was typically a pollinator back in the day, but it makes an excellent gives that nose that you'll get sniff in there.
Wow.
And your yeasting choice is really important in cider, depending on whether you're looking to do something that's more dry and champagne-y, or you're looking for something that's going to be more promoting the esters, or we use a yeast that's fairly neutral that really just helps you understand the apple a lot more.
That's super cool. So that finished dry, I assume that the next one with sweet in the name is going to be more
the Cedra sweet. Yeah. So this is a new one for us. We actually, for the longest time, we've pushed hard just focusing on dry ciders, and dry ciders are easier to do as a craft, right? Because I don't want to say they're easy, because you have to grow the apples, and that's the really, really hard part, is getting those apples to be consistent. But it is easier to, when you think about the fermentation strategy, to finish dry, right? When you finish sweet, you've got really two options. You can do it through a really complex technique that the French developed called kieving, where you're trying to get the yeast to finish, not go all the way, and you leave residual sugars.
Sugar, right? Okay.
Or you can do it what more of the modern styles do. So what we do is we ferment it all the way out. So we have about ferment 100% apple juice all the way through, and then we'll add Macintosh concentrate. So like a concentrated Macintosh syrupy structure that it comes from just distilling down the Mac, cooking it down. And then we also will add honey. So we do wildflower honey to that. And then we do a sterile filtration process on that. And that gives it that nice, really rich sweetness that kind of helps accentuate the apples in there.
Yeah, it kind of has an aftertaste like I just ate an apple. As dumb as that sounds.
Yeah.
Most ciders do finish drier than
you just
sweet.
drank one.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels, and it has like a thicker mouthfeel than the other one did, because I guess that syrup production kind of
the Macintosh concentrate is really nice. It gives it that kind of, and also the honey. The wildflower honey.
It does. Yeah, it leaves a nice like lingering honey in the back. I really like. What I like about it is it's really sweet, but it's also got a nice tartness that kind of cuts it.
Yeah,
so it's not like,
you still get the true essence of the apple in that. And what's interesting, somebody asked the question the other day. They were actually came out of the Shelton Fest. They said, "Well, why are some of your apples have higher ABVs? Are you adding stuff?" And I said, "No, the Scrumpy is finishing out at 7-8 because that's where the apples are. They're just higher sugar qualities. They're built for cider making. Whereas the Cedra Sweet, we use more new modern apples that will finish at a lower ABV, usually around 5.2, 5.5, somewhere around there."
This seems like a really simple question, but I don't know, maybe it's not, but why is it, I know that we make ciders with many different fruits, but why is it that the apple sort of became the cider making fruit?
Oh, that's a good
What is
question.
it about the apple?
Yeah, well, I mean, the apple is one of the oldest forms of beverage, that and the grape, because you go back even in, there's a long history on it. Coming out of Kazakhstan is where the apple's originally, most of the modern, not all apples came out of Kazakhstan, but most of the modern apple, the Malus apple has its roots there, and a lot of that has to do with just how that developed, and but there was native crab apples in England, there were native crab apples in the United States, and a lot of your early paleo type people were just pushing down this this appley structure, and eventually it goes bad pretty quickly, or good depending on your perspective, right?
Right.
And then they would start drinking it, and then from there it started to get grafted. What's interesting about the apple is that it's very rare that you could even plant the seed of the parent and get the same variety. So each seed, because of all of its genetic modifications over the years, over the millennia, packs a ton of different variants into that seed. So that's where most of your apples are grafted, and it was the Romans that taught the English how to do grafting cultures, because they learned it out of Asia and started pushing that. And then that's where people started really pushing it for cider making and those techniques because of the grafting qualities, because you're choosing it based on its characteristics to give you a nice buzz and a nice taste.
Yeah.
So there's a great book, if you ever check it out. It's called The Botany of Desire. It's also a documentary by Michael Pollan, and they talk a lot about the apple as one of those like slow genetically modified.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Selectively bred.
Selectively bred.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. Wow.
I feel like there's so much I need to learn.
I was going to say, I feel a little bit more prepared for our cider episode.
There you go. Yeah. Go watch that show.
Yeah. I feel like I know more questions to ask you.
Good.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
in addition to the cidery, you mentioned the other farm, and there's also the brewery is located at the Boyertown location. So you guys are also pouring 2 beers.
Yep.
I assume this is an Oktoberfest, the first one, right?
Yeah.
A rustic lager.
Yeah,
as
we did
it were.
So it's a rustic lager. It is kind of the season right now. It's in that Oktoberfest category. It's very
I love
clean.
Märzen so much.
Yeah, I know, right?
So we started the other farm. We had started the cidery on the farm, so on the orchard. Actually, the first production was at Blair Vineyards because we wanted to learn some of the techniques from winemaking, and Blair Vineyards was a family friend, and they got us into learning how to do our first one, which was an apple wine, which is now called Apfelwein in the German style.
Yep.
And then we started evolving from there. We moved the production onto the orchard, but we had this opportunity to buy a coffee shop in Boyertown, right into downtown, to actually create a way to extend our ciders. So originally we thought, well, we'll just get into beer making as a little bit of a side thing.
Right.
We bought our first system, was like one of those little Kegel, things, and boy, did we learn a lot. So, we learned a lot of what not to do. So when everybody says, I want to start a brewery, I said, tell me, I'll tell you all the mistakes to make. That way I'll save you a ton of money. But I think we finally got it right now. We've really focused on being a brew pub. And so we have all of our ciders on tap there, but we also have a really nice, healthy tap line. About 20 taps right now.
Wow.
We're going to be adding 8 more. So we do a pretty wide range of stouts, lagers. We also work with a lot of some of the fruits. Sometimes we'll do like a peach goes, because we grow peaches. We partner with Birthright Brewery in Nazareth. So they've been helping us out, perfect our craft. Wayne out of there is a really amazing brewer. And so he's taught us a lot. And we just kind of really focus that on inside the pub itself. And
Who
great
is
food.
currently doing your brewing?
Yeah, Wayne Milford.
So Wayne is doing your.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we actually had a lot of issues when we first built the next phase of the brewery. We built a direct fire system, and it was like just giant soup kettles, 3-barrel system. And what we had a lot of issues with, when we got it right, we got it really right, But then when we were trying to get consistency down, just working in that environment, working with direct fire, we just had a lot of inconsistency, and so we really kind of took a step back. We broke down the old brewing system, rebuilt a brand new one up in. The first one is the one that he built in Nazareth. Now we're building up our phase 2, which is steam jacketed. It's going to give us a nice, more even structure. Our yeasting strategies, getting that down, our filtration strategies. So that's, I think what everybody who's known the other farm and kind of come to see about us is, we stayed with it, and we've now got consistency on our products, which has been the biggest thing for us.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. Great.
I need to make my way back to Boyertown. It's been
You
quite a
wouldn't
while
recognize it.
since I've been there.
Yeah.
And I love the Firefly Cafe.
Firefly's an amazing place.
A great
You got it.
vegan restaurant.
Yep.
They have a little vegan market. And,
cool.
Yeah.
it's been way too long since we've been there.
Yeah, we've got a couple new cafes coming in. We also have the historic railroad service, so you can take a ride, drink some beers and ciders. and that actually goes right past Sly Fox, so it's kind of a brewery to brewery little situation there.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
Boyertown's really coming around to becoming a destination town, and we're excited to be kind of at the hub of it.
So we have one more beer.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah, this is our chocolate stout.
Yes.
This is,
looks yummy.
Dessert, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I knew you were pouring the beers too, Rich brought these over and was like, "That's a really dark looking cider. I wonder what's up with that."
It's called Rotten Apple.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, no, that one's great. It's a very thick stout, really heavy barley bill on that one.
Wayne doesn't
pretty
want to pass
smoky,
it.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, for this time of the year.
Nice dark bitter chocolate with the malts and the. Yeah, it's definitely your kind of beer.
Yeah.
The kind of beer that what I love about that kind of beer is that like that's. There's not like a lot of crazy stuff going on in there. It's not like cherries and vanilla beans and peppers, but that's the kind of beer you could do that kind of stuff with.
I could also age it. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, like a bourbon barrel.
Put this in a barrel for a year.
Yeah, really nice. Oh, I love. It's got a great like chocolatey aftertaste that like stays with you.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah. When our goal is, we speaking of aging with our ciders, we started doing a farmhouse style, which we use we do an open fermentation to start, and then we actually do a Brett based addition halfway through primary, and then what we do is we store it in spent white wine barrels, and we've figured out on a 2-year rotation it's perfect for that. So you get a really nice sour that's reminiscent of some of the more Belgian based sours. So we've done some experiments that we have going on right now with the beer side, and we're really looking over the next few years to start putting a Flemish red out.
Oh, cool!
And, some things like that.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
that's a good. That actually just made me think. Is there? You don't store cider in a barrel necessarily. I mean, I guess you could. But is there like barreling with ciders? And can you sort of do like a back and forth? Like, could you like age a beer in like say a bourbon barrel and then take that same barrel and age a cider in it?
You can definitely do that. Yeah, I mean, alcohol is great under a maturation. All alcohol, when it's in the barrel, goes through a process called microoxygenation, where you sort of have this. You've heard of the angel's share, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so. With respect to ciders and beers, both equally, we find that by doing that with our estate ciders, we actually get more of like a nice, a little more viscosity to it. Kind of a little bit more of the character comes out more. So,
right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I love learning stuff.
I know. Right? It's so cool to learn new things. I mean, we've learned so much about beer over the years we've been doing the podcast. It's cool to have something new to learn and be. Curious about.
Well, we appreciate being here because we're trying to get the word about cider out. So we do wine festivals, we do beer festivals, and then of course now we've been getting to seeing more and more cider festivals and stuff.
Yeah. It's like the beverage that can bring us all together.
There you go. Right. That's it. Maybe that's our hope
and
one day.
I don't know. As a kid, I always loved apple juice. Like there's something really comforting about
really
apple
is.
juice.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think John Adams drank a tankard for breakfast every morning before breakfast, and so maybe all our presidents should do that.
Maybe it might help. It might help.
Well, Hank, thank you so much. It was great to meet you,
thank you,
and thank you for preparing us for our next episode.
Hey, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, check out the Pennsylvania Cider Guild. They're a great organization for cider enthusiasts, and actually today's Pour the Core down in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But it's also the start on Tuesday of Philadelphia's first cider week.
Oh, that's awesome!
On Tuesday we have we have an event at the Museum of the Revolution. We're going to do a little talk about cider during the colonial American times on History After Hours on Tuesday, and then just go to phillyciderweek.com and you can kind of check out all the events.
We might have to have a Cider Guild episode.
Hey,
we can come to the brew pub or maybe to the farm and have
happy to do that. Yeah, we should do it in the orchard at the farm. And with lots of cider surrounding.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah,
I will be reaching out.
Perfect. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, Hank, thanks for coming to the table, man. Thanks for sharing this with us.
And have fun at the parade tonight.
Yes.
Hey, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'll be right in front of the other farm.
Oh, that's great. All right.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Well, this was a freaking awesome event.
It really was. You literally took the words right out of my mouth.
And it sounds like it's mutual, and I think we want to do it again next year.
Yeah, man.
So
I would
if
love
you didn't
to.
get to come out, definitely do.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
I was lucky enough to get to announce the winners.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, and I told you before we started recording, but you weren't loud enough.
I I was like screaming in that microphone.
Somehow I doubt that. Nobody could hear you.
They gave you the worst mic.
Well, that might be true. But so I'll quickly announce the winners on here, and we are going to be tasting the beers on Last Call.
So we should clarify what the contest was, and
so it was like drinker's choice,
a people's choice.
Yes, everyone that came and bought a ticket
brews.
got 3 tickets to put in the little baggies for each homebrew. So it was people's choice, and I will say, pretty much every beer had votes.
Yeah.
They said it was about 10 to 15 votes across the board for every beer, so it was quite close.
Yeah, and we didn't get to try all the homebrews, but the ones we did try,
there were
great.
A lot of them.
Fairly
but,
solid.
In third place from Brewclear Homebrew Club was Matt. He was also from the planning committee for this event, so it was really cool. He brewed like a Vienna lager, super clean, super tasty. In second place was Mark Witzel and his Oktoberfest. Really cool guy.
There you go, an Oktoberfest.
And in first place was from Polar Brewing Company, Black Walnut Brown Bear.
Whoa.
Which was, we have it here. We will taste it during
Black
Last Call.
Walnut.
Yeah, if you want to hear us drink that beer, that's going to be on Last
It's
Call.
an award-winning beer. We only drink award-winning
Everyone
beers.
kept saying to me, did you have that maple beer yet? And this was the beer that they were talking
sweet.
about. Did you have that maple beer yet?
Well, now we're going to have it.
People were chatting about it, so quite tasty. But congratulations, the winner, JP Mascaro and Sons, donated a pair of tickets to upcoming Philadelphia Flyers game, so they got those tickets. And
so I got to talk to the guys at Polar. And
yes, if you want to be able to go to the game, you need to chat with them.
Cool. Well, it was great. Huge thanks to the Reading Liederkranz for putting this on, and of course Holly and the planning committee who invited us out for it. This was great.
Yeah, it was a super good time.
Thanks to Rich for running the beers to us as usual in a festival. He can't hear a word I'm saying right now, but
that's okay.
He knows we love him. He knows.
He's busy getting more beers.
That's quite all right.
Oh, he just dumped one out.
That's
Oh, my God.
alcohol abuse.
Holy shit.
He was drinking the ciders, though. He quite enjoyed the ciders.
Yeah, he really liked the sweet one, the Cedre Sweet.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who were not able to make it to the event, you can catch pictures, I'm sure, up on our Instagram and all of our social media. We had a Facebook page where we updated throughout. I'm sure there will be a next year. So you should, if you do need to find us on Instagram, at Beerbusters, by the way, and Twitter, and Beerbusters Podcast on Facebook, 805-991 Beer, you know the whole shebang. Patreon.com/Beerbusters. Because in Last Call...
Give me $1.
In Last Call, we will be drinking the award-winning beers here, so definitely don't miss that.
If you want to be able to hear exciting bonus content of that ilk, go to patreon.com/beerbusters to sign up for as little as $1 a month.
Yes, and please, if you feel so inclined, leave a review, leave a comment on your podcast app of choice. Let the internet know how much you love us.
Whether it's 5
we have
stars.
a basement event coming up, so
Free
only our patrons get invited to the
More
basement.
for the patrons. Well,
that's true.
Give us $1 and you'll be invited.
Unfortunately, this does bring us to the end.
Give me $1
of another episode of
$1.
Beer Busters. This was a whole hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Food was great. Beer was great. It's cool to have the home brewers next to the professional ones, and hopefully the event just grows. It keeps getting better.
For sure.
For sure. 1, 2, 3, for sure. Well, I am Dan Baker, and we have been joined by my co-host and brewologist as we trumpet return. I know.
Finally.
Steph Hefner, indeed, and of course the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Remember, my friend, no squids were harmed in the making of this particular episode. And I have 9 seconds to go. We'll see you next time.
Bye!
Your mic's not even on. Give me $1.